now we're focusing on sustainability, climate leadership, and Africa's economic future. At a time when the world is rethinking growth, investment, and resilience, Africa stands at a defining moment. While the continent contributes the least to global carbon emissions, it remains among the most vulnerable to climate shocks, from food insecurity, energy challenges, to rising adaptation costs. Yet within these challenges lies a powerful opportunity for Africa to position itself as a global leader in green innovation, sustainable finance, clean energy, and inclusive economic growth. Well, joining me for this conversation now, we have Dr. Chizor Malize. She's Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, FITC, and she joins me right here in the studio. It's great to have you on the show, man. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
And thank you for making it, regardless of the rain. Out there. It's a very rainy trading day today. All right, looking at the data now, Africa's share of global emissions, less than 4%. Yet, we get the wrong end of the stick, when it comes to the impact, of that. But definitely this is seen as a disadvantage, for Africa. How can we turn this into an advantage? How do we flip it?
Thank you. Good to be here again. And so Africa has the opportunity to flip all the issues around green evolution to significant success story by making the right investments and having the right strategy for the journey. So we understand clearly that as the world moves to green, and as the world is also looking to greener and sustainable development opportunities, Africa is at the point where we have huge quantum level of human natural resources and mineral resources to develop the continent. And so Africa must therefore, at this time, make investments that are green, investments that allow the opportunity of growth in infrastructure development in areas that are more sustainable. Changing, therefore, the models that we have, for instance, for infrastructure development to models that are led by the Green Revolution. And so smart investments, that means we're attracting capitals in a way that is sustainable, and capitals that can be invested in the areas of renewable energy, green infrastructure. Railway systems are changing, but how are we also able to ensure that the climate issues are taken into consideration as we are making investments, say, in social infrastructures? And so we have the opportunity to build from scratch where we have not built, but build in ways that are aligned to the Green Revolution. And so to make this happen, the models for infrastructure development must change. So we are also therefore having the opportunity of late mover, for instance, which gives you the opportunity to build as aligned to global developments and global expectations. So that sort of opportunity means significant alignment that will therefore attract the right investments, the right funds, the right capital into the continent that is still virgin, so to say. Right,
and talking about, investment and, turning the disadvantage into an advantage for the continent. But we have a continent that, seems to act independently, looking at the countries in Africa. So looking at Nigeria now, what do we do, when it comes to investment and, taking advantage of where we are right now as a country, if we cannot do it together, as a continent? What do you do individually?
So the world has kept Africa very fragmented for a long time. But it's also important that Africa begins to look at itself as a single continent that can work collaboratively with one another. We do know that there are so many platforms driving that, like the African Union. But it's also important that even the collaboration that is envisioned by African Union is also executed by the leaders of these nations. And so collaboration allows the sort of partnership that can help people co-create, co-invest, co-execute. And so you look at a West Africa that could actually be absolutely seamless in terms of transportation and movement. So when people get together within regions, whether it's Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, and Western Africa, so much can be co-created and so much investments that can also drive scale. especially when each of these countries can come together to make such investments happen. And this also includes policy, because there could also be policies that can catalyze growth, cross-continent growth, cross-regional growth. And so collaboration is the key word for achieving that sort of success.
Right, and definitely ESG, that's been a buzzword, but I don't think it's been that buzzy, this year. Do you think, ESG is becoming a compliance exercise, rather than, boardroom strategy, for most companies?
So many look at their investments in ESG as the need for compliance, especially the need to ensure that reports are right and the reports are made at the right time to avoid sanctions. But the moment that organizations, institutions, and bodies and agencies begin to see ESG, not just as compliance tools, but more importantly, as developmental tools and as tools that will be leveraged to build strategy for their businesses, aligning therefore their ESG practices along the line of their business strategies, then there will be a shift in the way that risks are identified and managed and mitigated as well. A shift also in the investments that are made, the way that they achieve operational efficiencies, the goods and services that the organizations produce, the way that the organizations connect with the society where they function, the sort of investments that are made in the society, to the extent that there's social development and social growth. So compliance is just one thing. At the end, you want to be able to report what you've done, but more importantly is to be passionately doing these things aligned to the business strategy in a manner that is systematic, strategic, and deliver growth. So what will come out of that is that we're going to see institutions and organizations that are stronger, that are aligned to governance, that are aligned to rules, regulations, and truly, therefore, are able to perform optimally. Institutions that identify that their people and their talents are very critical and important and make the right investments to see that they are optimum. Institutions that are aligned to systems and structures and processes that will drive efficiency. And then we can begin to see institutions that truly drive growth. Growth in their business and operations, growth in the society, growth in development, and growth in overall good. And that's just the same way and the best way to therefore drive a prosperous future, both for the organizations, their countries, and for Africa as a whole.
Well, I know you deal with most of these companies, on a daily basis, but do you think ESG investment is top of mind, when it comes to the organizations you speak with?
It is becoming top of mind. One of the reasons it's becoming top of mind is that there are several agencies and organizations that are also demanding that reports are done, that compliance happen. And so each and every one of these agencies require that work is done. And so where there is a gap is in the knowledge and the capacity and the capabilities. And so this is one of the things we do in FITC, because our FITC Sustainability and ESG Institute is designed and equipped to be able to train institutions and their people to be able to create and craft cutting-edge ESG strategies. Not only just the strategies, but also the sort of programs that can help them truly make investments in the right places. The sort of programs that would help them attract capital to their organizations, and more importantly, that would also help them make true impact. Now, reporting is also very critical. You don't do all of these things without a structure for reporting. So we are also able to equip them with the knowledge and the toolkits for reporting all of their actions. So to a large extent, there is growth, and every time it's incremental. And I can assure you, the speak around sustainability and ESG in the last 5 years is on the increase. And that's the reason why we consistently create thought leadership at FITC. So the world can come together from everywhere in the world, online, physical, digital, to learn about these things and then embrace it, because what you do not understand, you may not be able to execute. But by being around the right persons, policymakers, industry leaders, thought leaders, experts, advisors, and all of that, then you would learn more and take such learning back into your organization.
Right. I'm trying to imagine if you had the attention of every CEO and board member, at this point, what 3 decisions would you want them to make, when it comes to ESG?
So the first is to ensure that the ESG strategy is cut clear, it is documented, and it is articulated. But it's also aligned to the business strategy. We have seen where people just go on a tangent. They're interested in environment, they're interested in social, they're interested in governance, but they're actually not executing each well enough. They are simply dissipating resources in a manner that is not aligned to the business strategy or the focus or the goal or the direction they are going. So that's number one. Create ESG strategies that align to your business goals. The second is execute ESG in a manner that allows for collaboration. Find partners who are doing so many other things. Some have built platforms for the expression and investments that you require. Some are actually also there to also help you and guide you to get it right. But more importantly also, there must be collaborations between organizations, government, civil societies, several of the NGO and the not-for-profit companies that have set up to be able to fill the needs, whether around the environment or social. Find and make such investments in them and collaborate with them so that the programs, the ideas, the initiatives that you have are excellently run. And that's really what gives impact.
And before I let you go, execution. How do we get execution moving away from, strategy? You've done all your strategy. What's execution?
And so that's where reporting comes. Reporting allows you to know what's measured, what's important, what indices you should be mindful about. And so execution means that you want to be able to execute in a way that aligns to your strategy and in the ways that you are also able to report. You want to be able to aggregate your activities and investments in a manner that you are also able to report. But the good thing is all of these things we've mentioned here is one of the reasons that FITC we're always bringing these thought leadership programs, like the conference which is coming up soon. And so at the conference, people would learn quite a lot of those things.
All right. All right. So much to unpack there.
Yeah. Speaking about the conference also, so FITC is coming up with this, like we do all the time, the Sustainability and ESG Conference, which comes up soon. And we do expect that these thought leaders, these CEOs, these decision makers, and these chairmen would not only be in the room, but also engage with the other people who are playing in this game. And at the conference, you would learn every single thing you need to know about sustainability and ESG.
Sustainability.
And ESG.
Yeah, very important right now for every business. Thank you so much, Dr. Chizor Malize, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, FITC. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.